Hello and welcome to the Craving Crypto podcast. Today is episode 9 and we're going to be talking about whether this bear is ever going to hibernate, meaning will this bear market turn around? And then we're going to be going over tax laws as a crypto flaw debunked, and then doing some Q&A from the comments section as well as the market review at the very beginning. So let's get right into this. So we are at our document here, so we'll just get right into the market overview. Headed to coinmarketcap.com. And Bitcoin is at 109 billion in market cap. The price is down a little bit from our last episode. We're at 6,377. And then the 24-hour volume is $3.8 billion. And the 24-hour change is down 0.3%. Ethereum's at 44 billion in market cap. The price is $439. 24-hour volume is 1.4 billion. And the price is up 0.05%. Ripple is at 44 cents, market cap at 17.5 billion, 24-hour volume at 191 million, and it's down 0.39%. Bitcoin Cash is at 11 billion in market cap, price is $695, 24-hour volume is 318 million, and we're down 0.16%. EOS is 6 billion in market cap, price is $7.03, and the 24-hour volume is 610 million, and the price is down 4.16%. All right, so the total market cap is at 252 billion, 24-hour volume is at 12 billion. If we just click on the chart here, and kind of zoom into the prices. Also, this is a really nice thing. If you don't know about it, you can press full screen on CoinMarketCap and see the full price and get a better picture of what's actually happening here. So as you can see, since 2017, we rallied from under the $20 billion market cap range all the way up to the $800 billion level. And we've corrected since then. And our lowest point has been about 235 billion. So we're just waiting to see if this low is going to stick at 235. I think it's pretty likely for us to, but if it doesn't hold a support, again, we could go test the $200 billion levels, as that is a very important area of support in the previous cycle. But overall, the market cap looks good, and a brutal sell-off like this does expect to have a reversal. We're just waiting to see when that happens, and it's anybody's game as to exact point that that is. Now, as far as will the bear be done hibernating or not, because that's what we're talking about today, I personally think yes. I've been talking about this for the past few videos now, a lot on my channel, and really since Bitcoin started to see the $6,000 levels, I knew that we were getting closer to a bottom. Now, of course, we made a little bit of a lower low in Bitcoin. Now, let's just pull up the BTC chart here and look at that. It's totally okay for us to make that lower low down here at the 5798 levels, because our previous low that stuck was in February at 6,000, and that was a nice low for a little while until we blew out that low when we felt support right here and came down into this other area of support that we've seen previously and in the last rally. So it's good to see this happening here, and personally, I do think that support is going to hold at least for a little while here on Bitcoin. I mentioned that in my stream and in the other Craving Crypto episode, as it was one of the questions in the questions below. So as always, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment box, and I try to get back to them each episode. But this is a very violent sell-off. We've went down over 70% since the top. And for me, this is just an exact comparison of what happened to the internet bubble in the 90s. So let's just pull up this chart here and kind of look at that. This is the NASDAQ composite. So this is basically a list of a bunch of stocks in the NASDAQ, which is the American stock market. As you can see, this is what happened between 1996. Well, really, this chart is since 1982 back here, but the majority of the price action started a little bit after that in the 90s. And the internet bubble really went from 1990 all the way until 2000, where we saw this rally all the way from 500 to the $5,000 levels for the NASDAQ. And then we had this drop, which was a 40% drop in the first bull trap. And then we had a 78% drop after that, which took us to about 1250 on the NASDAQ. That's where it bottomed out, below the lowest trend line, the mean, and then it decided to go for new highs. It recovered and started uptrending again, and we broke this all-time high. So we're actually way above this level now in the NASDAQ. And this took, 10 years to happen. Now let's go ahead and pull up the Bitcoin chart and see the similarities here. As you can see, this is where smart investors got in. Then we have that first sell-off. We have a parabolic run up to $20,000 per coin. And then you have a 46% drop. That correlates very nicely with the 40% drop that happened here in the NASDAQ. And then you have a bull trap form and a deeper drop. And as you can see, that's the same thing that happened in the NASDAQ. A bull trap formed and then a deeper drop. And this deeper drop in Bitcoin so far has been 72%. Now the percentages don't have to be exactly the same, but it is nice to see them pretty close. So yes, Bitcoin could go a few more percent down according to this fractal comparison, but really it's well below the despair phase and the mean of its market cycle and should be seeing a reversal soon. So as far as will the bear hibernate, I do think that this bear is going to go in for hibernation season and spend some time in those caves as the bull market returns. And I've been talking about this a lot. It's just when you utilize market cycle analysis, it starts to come out very clear and clean. Now, if you look at silver, which is another comparison to what's happening here in the cryptocurrency space, silver did a very, very similar thing as the internet bubble did, but it did a little bit late. So in the early 2000s, when the internet bubble was crashing, silver was actually being accumulated. Money started to come to silver, and then by 2012, we saw silver peak out at around $50 per ounce. This was the new paradigm, and then you have a 47% drop and a bull trap form. And then you have a 72% drop after that. Now, silver could go a little bit lower here. It might go down, 78%, so it might drop a few more percent on the downside. But either way, this is the same thing that happened to the NASDAQ, which, as we know, recovered and went to new highs. And this all really lines up perfectly with the market cycle chart that I teach and share a lot on my live streams, which just says, smart money comes in, and then institutions come in, there's a bear trap, and then you have the media attention, greed, new paradigm, delusion, and it just goes crazy after that, right? And it's just the same thing that repeats itself. And all of these charts look the same if you know how to compare where the trend line is, which is the mean, which you fall below, which gives you the despair phase, which is where you buy. And that's exactly what happened here with the NASDAQ. Here's your mean, your trend line. You fall below into the despair phase and buy. And again, that aligns perfectly with the despair phase on this market cycle chart. So everything is kind of coming together very nicely for Bitcoin. You can also compare it to the Wall Street cheat sheet and get a pretty clear idea that this has corrected hard and brutally and is painting the same picture as many other market cycles. And, again, we need to see some upward movement soon. So in my opinion, 90% of the correction is over. We might have a little bit more, but overall, this is a spot to be accumulating and thinking big picture and expecting that bear to go hibernate for a while and kind of get out of this whole scenario here for crypto. And Google Trends is starting to pop off as well. So we're getting an influx of cryptocurrency searches while the price is still dropping. So that means that we're having new interest in cryptocurrency and the price isn't really being necessarily affected by that. We don't even have to see the price rise to see interest coming in, which generally means that means there's buying volume happening and people are getting back excited in the cryptocurrency space. And I can actually see this for myself in my Discord channel, the VIP area, because we've started to get a lot more activity going on, and it's way more active than it was like in February when the market started to correct and everybody was really scared. So even like the chat groups and the areas where people are talking about crypto, they're starting to lighten up a little bit more. People are getting excited. So I think that a lot of people are aware that this is kind of happening. They just haven't seen it happen yet. So it's always got that little bit of a question in the back of their mind, like, oh, I don't know, is this going to go further down? How much is it going to go? Are we going to go to sub 3,000 or 3,000? And I don't think that that's very probable. I've mentioned that multiple times, and it's more likely we see a reversal before the 3,000 and sub $3,000 levels for Bitcoin. And there's a lot of things pointing that out to me, but it's only so much I can teach in these podcasts and go over. If you want more details on all of that, my website's a great spot to look into that. So, all right. So yeah, I do think this bear is going to hibernate, and I do think that if you've lived through the majority of the correction, you are going to see a brighter day soon where the prices are rallying and you don't have to feel so uncomfortable about the direction of the crypto space. So tax laws and cryptocurrency, how could this affect it? Personally, I think that tax laws are something that everybody needs to be aware of in this space. And I think that everybody should be looking into what they can do politically to make sure that their opinion is voiced on cryptocurrencies and us keeping a nice fair tax for them. Currently, we have them taxed under properties, similar to real estate, meaning that if you buy it and then you make a profit on that, you have to pay what's called a capital gains tax, meaning that you used capital and made a gain on that capital. So that is something that they're doing right now currently for taxes in crypto. They haven't shown like a ton of interest in really regulating it or taxing it. I mean, obviously they talk about it, but right now it seems to be kind of something they're just kind of letting happen for the most part, the government. And I just believe that this is because there's a lot of profit in them just keeping it as a capital gains right now as everything explodes, so that all these traders have to pay capital gains tax on the rally. And I do think that any crazy tax laws or even regulation wouldn't come around until Bitcoin would get closer to the $100,000 levels, because then they'd be like, okay, this is really big. We need to take this more seriously and maybe look at the tax laws and regulation laws as far as that goes. But I do think that there's a lot of profit in them just letting it explode. And if all the market cycles line up like I see them lining up, and we do get this insane rally up in Bitcoin in the crypto space into 2019 and maybe even a little bit further, then I think that closer to the top of the market, when things are overvalued again, we may be seeing some regulations start to come out and some interest in regulation. But currently, I believe personally that the government has way too much to gain on letting this explode, letting it play this fractal out, and then taxing the capital gains on all of this movement. Because if they let it go parabolic, they're going to make way more money than if they just, crashed it or put a bunch of regulations on it now. So I do think that if they're going to do this, they'll play it smart and they'll let it do its thing. But it is something to be thinking about, because if they did do some intense tax laws or revise them in a way that is negative, that does affect the crypto space. And the government does have some control over the crypto space, obviously. Now, as to how many people would be reporting on that is a whole nother question, because there's stuff like Monero and private blockchains where the government can't really do much tracking on that. So it's kind of up to the person to be honest with the government about that. Now, I do think that they're aware of that and they're thinking about it. But again, I believe personally that they have way more to gain letting this explode and letting the market cycle play out than trying to put a bunch of regulations on it now or put too many taxes on it now. I mean, capital gains is already pretty big. It's like 20%. So you're looking at paying quite a bit if you're profiting off all of this investment. But they're set up really nice right now. If this goes parabolic, the government will make a lot of money on it. So I don't really think it's something that they're going to do yet. I believe they'll let it get out of hand first. So, all right, so we'll just read a comment from the comment section below. Brian Jin says, this is seriously the best channel. Great insight into what his trading is like, when to take a position, and his train of thought on why. Thanks, Dallin. Keep doing your thing. I've been using Elliott waves and they helped me a lot to get a better gauge of the overall market and when to take a position or not. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate that positive comment. I went ahead and liked that, and shout out to you. This is why I do this. I have a passion for teaching market cycles and Elliott waves and helping people do smart investing on their own. so that they don't have to go through a hedge fund or get screwed on somebody else taking a large percentage of the gains. So thank you so much for that, and I appreciate your comment. So as always, we've got the Coinigy sign up if you want to sign up for Coinigy, BitMEX if you want to do leverage trading, although I don't recommend it to beginners, and then my Bitcoin address if you like what I'm doing, you can go ahead and donate. Website is right there as well. Thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. I hope that you learned something. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go to the comment section below if you have any questions that you want answered, and I will see you guys in the next episode. As always, stay profitable out there.